So my man's in a spot of trouble. Tucker's coming under fire. Look, alright, I love Isaac Asimov, right? I read one of his books. I have not been able to get into the whole fucking universal donkey thing or whatever the hell it is. I have those books. It's just diving into that's weird shit, and I'm not in the mood for that right now. So, but I read one of his books. I cannot fucking remember what it is. It's a great book. It was about this guy that was on this like time council or whatever. I don't fucking know. He was a time something or another. And whenever things in human history would, go awry, he would be called in to alter something, right, in the past that would change entirely the future. Butterfly effect type of shit. And like in the beginning, chapter of the book, he gets called in to see that mankind doesn't wind up going into space. And like he's so good at his job that he could calculate it down to the least possible necessary alteration to get the exact desired effect. And he moves a glass from one point on a shelf to another. And that was enough to see that mankind did not go to space. Like, fucking wait, that is crazy shit. I love that kind of shit. But this, let's put people on public trial for shit they said a decade ago. Really? Like, that is some bullshit. Man, come on. Like, that is some bullshit. And I don't know, man. That just sounds dumb to me. Like, either way, James Gunn, he's a big lefty, and I do not support his firing. I think it was stupid. So stupid. Because I saw the fucking tweets. And I was like, really? Really? This is child molestation or whatever the fuck they were calling it that he's making fun of. Really? Okay. Teasing the water pressure in the fucking hotel. It's like a 6-year-old pissing on his head. That's funny. Like, because it puts an image in your mind of a 6-year-old pissing on his head. I don't know. And that's funny to me. So what are you going to do? Not because the 6-year-old's naked. Because it's funny that he's pissing on his head. Like, get your mind out of that particular gutter. Pretty please when you're thinking about my thoughts. Ugh. But anyways, so yeah, I saw that shit and I was like, motherfucker. So this is no different, and I have for you what Tucker said, or at least what I found that people are putting out there. So let's check it out.
You know him, you love him.
I love women, but they're extremely primitive. They're basic. They're not that hard to understand.
Now look, you can say what you want to about that statement. But it does have, I believe, the bitter tang of truth to it. I mean, god damn it, you know what I'm gonna hear? You know what I'm gonna fucking hear? Hashtag not all, right? Yes, god fucking damn it, not all. Some of you women are amazingly complex and wondrous fucking creatures. But a lot of you are fucking basic and not difficult to understand. So, I can't even really say he's wrong. Okay, now I would have to see those for the context. Again, I harken back to what was reported about James Gunn, that he was making fun of, like, child abuse. Shit like that. Like, he was getting child rape thrown at him too, for saying that the pressure in the shower in his hotel room felt like a 6-year-old was pissing on his head. I mean, amongst other things that were nowhere near as bad as it was fucking portrayed. So again, they don't fucking show it, and I haven't found it. So, yeah, that could be anything as far as I'm concerned, just as long as it involves a child of some sort. So, hey, man, I feel bad for ugly bitches. You know, like, ugly bitch needs love too. They gotta pay. Look, it's the universal of life that there are a lot of men with no standards. It's just the way it goes. And it's also universal truth that money helps a lot. So you can be an ugly, nasty man and get a girl like way out of your league if you have a lot of money. But an ugly millionaire woman is a lonely woman. Sometimes there isn't enough money in the world. So, you know, I feel bad. It's not their fault. That's a pretty harsh accusation to levy that you're against, saying feel bad for them. They didn't do anything. It sucks. I don't think that's wrong to say. I think that's pretty fair. I think that's a pretty fair statement. I feel sorry for unattractive women. I feel sorry for unattractive men. They didn't do anything either. You know? Like, life deals you a set of cards. And some of them is this gorgeousness. And some of it's fucking, you know, this ugliness. So what do you fucking want? Make the best of what you get. But I think it's wrong to say I can't feel sorry for ugly people. Jesus. It's fucked up. Apparently, from what I've discovered, these people enjoy the idea of ruining fucking careers. So, and they're pretty biased in one obvious direction. So of course they're blowing it out of proportion. First of all, 2006. Everybody put yourself back to 2006. Those of you who can. God, I hope there's no 13-year-olds fucking watching. You need your parents' permission to watch my channel. Anyways, put yourself back to 2006. Seriously, put yourself back into that mindset. And would this shit really have offended you? Or would you have been like, fuck you, man, and like, gone on with your life? How many of you would have been huddled in a corner crying after hearing this in 2006? Show of hands, please, so we know who you are.
You're talking to a feminist, and she's giving you, well, you know, men really need to be more sensitive, and this, you know, actually, men don't need to be more sensitive. You just need to be quiet and kind of do what you're told.
I'm not laughing at that. That's terrible. And Tucker is not going to apologize. Essentially, I can't find the clip of Tucker not apologizing. But I did hear part of it, or somebody read out transcripts from it or whatever. And apparently the man said that he's not going to apologize because once you give in and do that, then that lets them know that you think you're a bad person too. If you go, look, this was 13 years ago. Put yourself back to 13 years ago. How many of you would have been crying in the corner over this? I would have been laughing my ass off. Patrice O'Neal, God bless him, where he's still alive, would still be saying this shit because Tucker stole it from Patrice. Tucker is just as good of a comedian as Amy Schumer. They both stole from Patrice. And why? The man's genius. And that's quality. A woman and a man took from the black man too. Son of a bitch. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's comedians nowadays that say this kind of shit. Jim Jeffries. Huge fucking ridiculous lib that he's turned out to be in some ways. Not maybe in all ways, but in some ways, nevertheless. He's gone fucking insane. Just with the rest of them. And he used to say that kind of shit. You going after Jim? Jimmy Kimmel? When he was on the Man Show? Really? Like... Come on. We need to shut down the Wayback Machine. Not the site. I think there's like a site called the Wayback Machine or something like that. Not the site. We can still access things from the past. But, like, this public trial. What crime did he commit? He said some offensive shit to some people who probably deserve to hear it a little bit. Where's the crime there? Right? Who got hurt? I mean, like, for real, who got hurt? Show of hands. Who in 2019 is sitting in the corner crying over this? Please raise your hands so we know who you are. But anyways, in my looking into this sort of thing, I came across this clip, and I thought it was very funny because it reflects a lot of the way the way that I handle this sort of thing. And I thought this was great. For your pleasure.
And I make a joke. He said, "Why don't you shove a Ryobi drill up your?" And I tweet right back, "Why Ryobi?
Yeah, why not DeWalt?
Why not? Why?" And then I did. But that one was.
Milwaukee.
There's a whole.
He handled whole hog with a half-inch
Makita. Go with the Makita.
Well,
but the guy wrote back.
Milwaukee
He goes,
makes a better plumber's
yes,
drill.
but the guy wrote back. He says, "Sorry, I was having a tough day. I probably shouldn't have said that." So at least I had an interplay.
Sure.
What did that come out of nowhere? This meanness.
And that's the way I like to handle it on, in the comments. Sometimes I don't know. You get enough of a sense of people when you engage long enough with people that you learn the telltale signs of somebody who's gonna play ball and somebody who's just fucking around, right? So, like, you can tell the drive-by commenters that just want to tell you what a piece of shit they think you are and have no desire to engage. You can tell those pretty quick, and I smack them down pretty hard. I treat them like hecklers. I treat them as if I was a stand-up and they were a heckler, right? I just go, shut the fuck up. And then you can also tell some people that maybe, like... The way I kind of judge it is, they say a lot of stuff that's just blatantly ridiculous, right? Which means that generally that means that they don't entirely disagree with you, but they want to disagree with you entirely, so they don't want to get baited into winding up on finding common ground you really fast, or they want to see if you're the type of person that's going to look for that sort of shit, whatever it is that is in their head when they leave these kind of comments. But they leave these kind of long, ridiculous, non sequitur comments, alright? People tease me for my beard a lot. I get neck beard sometimes, you know? And sometimes people tease me that I'm fat. I don't really think I'm all that fat. I mean, I'm like, I weighed myself today. I was 229, but that's wearing like all my work clothes and stuff and my steel toe boots and shit. So I'm probably a good 225, something like that. That ain't that bad, right? I got a little bit of a gut, but I got a lot of muscle because I did dance a lot and shit. Like, what the fuck am I talking about this? Anyways. So, you know, you get those kind of visual, easy gags people throw out at you. And if it's like, you know, I can't stand his voice and he's fat. Those are the kind of people that I go, amazing argument. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Because it's like, really? What does that have to do with anything? And then sometimes you get a response back. Sometimes it's twice as nasty. You go, hey, look, I could be just as nasty as you if that's really what you want. But I would rather like to know why you're this upset. And you see where that takes you. You know what I mean? Like, you know? And if you get a decent fucking reply, then you can actually get somewhere. And then you can make videos like I made yesterday. You know? But you can also grow as a person that way. Maybe that's how you change, and that's how you evolve with society. Right? You start off an asshole, and then as society becomes more pathetic, you know, girly yourself up right along with it. Because we still live in a fucking society, you know? And I have made myself a person of the world. Anybody in the world can interact with me on this platform. And so I have to look at the effect that I have as well. I believe that's also a thing that's important. You got to kind of step back and look at what effect you're having on things sometimes. And sometimes you just don't notice the effect you're having on things. And in hindsight, what I should have done was watch the damn show and see that Lindsay had fucking turned it into ridiculousness. And then I could come on and go, here's my review of fucking Danger and Eggs. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't like this. It fucking, you know, really drive home that she's being ridiculous with the way she's portraying it. You know, in hindsight, that's the way I would make that video today. But I don't do that kind of shit very often anymore. So usually it's got to be something pretty ridiculous now for me to fucking go into it. But yeah, you know, you learn as you go. That was a year ago. And I'm holding myself accountable because I saw that there was a possible effect there. And I believe that I was in the wrong for the way that I'd made that video. And so I'm owning it. You know, that's part of who we can also be. We can grow and change as people, and we can go, that was just poorly done. I should have done a better job. I should have done a better job by the show, as to at least giving it the fucking chance to speak for itself. I didn't. So, you know, and maybe Tucker, in the past 13 years, has come around to think, you know, maybe that's not exactly the way that I think about my wife or my children, or that I want my children to think about women. Maybe things have changed. Maybe I see now the error of my ways, and perhaps I was a baddie back then when I was saying that shit. Now I see the anger that that has caused, and I can own my little piece of it. And not do that shit anymore. And in 13 years, I would say that he's changed some. Like, there every once in a while he throws out a pretty fucked up offhand comment. But I still think it's funny. I don't know. What do you want from me? I like that kind of humor. I like dark humor. I like self-depreciating humor. And I like humor that teases other people. I think we should all be able to laugh at our differences and fucking move on with life. Sue me. Please don't. Not for real. I don't have any money. But yeah. So I don't know, man. I think this is ridiculous. And even if Tucker wanted to apologize, he can't. Because you cannot bend to the will of terrorists. Not that I'm really legitimately calling these people terrorists, but I think the sentiment remains. Once you give in, you're fucked. That's why you don't pay ransom. Because once you get your kid back, if you get your kid back after you've paid the ransom, somebody else got kidnapped them. Because they know you'll fucking pay. Like, you gotta weigh that shit heavy in your mind. You always want to be dealing with that shit. And no, so you just kind of go, look. What shit I said back then? I've grown. Fuck off.